Hello and welcome to day 6 of our Educator series. This is me, Preethi, your parenting coach and family therapist, and it is a pleasure for me to be having these ongoing conversations with Roopa, who's here with us today again, founder and director of Absorbent Mind, a Montessori school, and a Montessori trainer. Today we have another interesting topic for you, something that I think every parent is going to resonate with: the progress. How do we measure student progress? Most of the time we get stuck with the grades. We look at the report card as the yardstick to measure a child's potential, a child's progress, a child's capacity. That becomes the one piece of evidence about whether the child is doing well or not. And most parents, most of us also end up looking at the child's future based on what is in that report card. Today, we're going to be talking about, is that really the right way to measure a student's progress, a child's progress? And how does this correlate with child development itself? See, at the end of the day, academics is one aspect of life. Yes, it is a very important aspect. There is nobody who's going to be debating that. While that is a given, is that the only yardstick? Is that the only thing that determines the success of a child in the future? These are questions that remain to be answered. So today, we're also going to be looking at how to assess a child in the context of development, overall development. How is it possible to look at a student's progress beyond the report card? We also want to be looking at every child's potential, curiosity, growth, capacity, skills. There are a whole lot of things that comes into the individuality of a child, which is what is going to be with them till the end. And that is what we're going to be talking today. And as we get started, let's welcome Rupa. And the first question that I have for you to start off this topic is,
Yes.
beyond the report card, what is the yardstick to measure a student's progress, a child's development? What would be your initial thoughts on that?
Namaste, everyone. Thank you, Preeti. So, first, let us try and understand between literacy and education. Education and literacy. There's a very thin line between education and literacy. Our forefathers, they were not educated, yet they were able to manage the village. They were able to manage the social circle. They kept all the social circle close to them, and they valued each other, and they
Mhm.
knew how the seasons changed, when it will rain, when should I put the seed in the field, when I should do the plowing, when I should expect the crop to come, during that time what will I do. All this was planned, and nobody taught them. They gradually learned, learning by going to the farm and the fields. They know how many months paddy it takes to grow. Do we know it? Anybody? No. We don't know. They know exactly this date, this month it will rain. This date we have to cut the crops or else it will rot. They knew
Mhm.
this. They know it now also. That's what is happening. Now also they know it. So literacy is the other aspect where it's all about rote learning, mugging up, going and giving your exams, and scoring marks and all that. I do know it's very important. I do understand. But is that only the thing?
Mhm.
That you should not measure the child just by 100 marks. A child who goes to the office with 100 marks might not get, might not, survive,
Mhm.
because the other areas to be looked at, when she
Mhm.
told the other yardsticks, other areas to be looked at, it has to be the holistic development of the child. It
Mhm.
cannot be only academic based. It's
Mhm.
absolutely fine. The child is scoring two less marks. It's okay. It's
Mhm.
okay. I do understand, because from the beginning, from the childhood, the parent is like, oh, you will do this, you will do this, you will do this. The child sets that mark in the mind. When they go to degree, when they go to what is that, university studies and all that, they keep this in the mind. Oh, 2 marks less, they are shocked, they commit suicide.
mm,
They are unable to take it, they cannot take it.
mm,
So from now, don't build the pressure
mm.
from the
So
young age
beyond the
only.
academics, what else do we have to look at?
The holistic, it is about life skills and values.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, life skills and values are the ones which are going to be with us throughout our life. After the age of 18, you are thrown in the society out there. You have to live there. If you don't have life skills, if you don't have values, I don't think so anybody can survive.
Mm,
So make it more sociable. Make it more. Don't make it competitive sociable. Now, what is happening is parents have a lot of pressure rather than children now. In the
mm,
parent circle, my child is going to sum this thing. So this child has scored 100. See, all children, like our fingers, like last time I told, they are not same. So
mm,
you have to give an opportunity. You should accept your child. I see
mm,
many parents not accepting the child the way they are.
mm,
They are they have put different yardsticks where the child has to be this, you should do this and all that. No, because your friends are doing, your child need not do it. It's your, this thing, you do it because it's your friends who are competing. That's your problem, not the child's problem. So then
mm,
comes the critical thinking and creativity.
mm,
How, just by mugging up you get critical thinking and creativity? Do you think by mugging up you'll get critical thinking and creativity? No. The child should explore. The child should have that freedom to speak. The
mm,
expression should be there. Thinking comes only by speech.
mm,
Only whether it is right or wrong, only you speak out, you will get to know perfectly whether it is right or wrong. That is
mm.
assessing.
Hmm. So what
So
I'm
then,
thinking is when we look at assessment, we need to first look at it from the perspective of education rather than literacy. And by what you're saying, education versus literacy, literacy is more about learning to knowing how to read and write, and mostly it is rote learning oriented, as against education is more about learning to live, right? It is skill development, it is acquiring knowledge that is beyond just knowing to read and write, which is what,
yes,
our forefathers and people in the village, they may not know how to read and write or put a signature, but they definitely know how to live.
life skills, yes, life skills and values,
Yeah.
yes.
Absolutely. So, which means education has life skills and values that are integrated as part of the acquiring knowledge, learning to live and live in the society along with others, along with nature. Right now, having said that, when we come into assessing student progress within the classroom, we cannot keep it restricted to academics alone, which
Yes,
is dependent on rote learning. We need to
yes.
look at it in the context of education, which also includes life skills, values, socialization, basically, social development. I think within that, automatically the physical and emotional development will also come in. So all of these put together is what is how we need to be looking at a child's development or student progress.
Holistic, it is called, it is the holistic development, the
Is
complete
the
development of it.
holistic development. Fantastic. Thank you. So now, when we are looking at, see, at the end of the assessment is necessary for us to know whether the child is at par with others in that age. But I'm scared to use that word because you also said no comparison, right? We do have
No comparison, no comparison.
substandard for every age, every stage, every classroom, that at the end of this particular class, at the end of first standard, a child should know this much. At the end of, let's say, UKG, a child should know this. At the end of fourth standard, the child should know this. So there is some yardstick that at every age the child should know certain things. So for that, assessment does have to come in.
Yes, yes.
How would you explain that?
This is there is something called psychologically speaking, and according to Montessori and all, the way they have discovered, it's the sensitive periods. We call it as sensitive periods. It comes from birth.
Mm,
You and I are not teaching. It is just the discovery we have made, observing the child. These sensitive periods are there, and these patterns will happen. Like a 3-year-old is a 3-year-old all over the world.
mm,
3 to 4 is the sensitive period for language acquisition. So
Mm.
at this stage, between 3 and 4, if I teach language, the learning chances are 100%.
Mm.
Say if
Okay.
I take in a Montessori environment, in a Montessori environment, the assessment happens through observation. We
Hmm.
observe the child we have taught, say we have taught phonetics, we have taught some languages, we have taught some names of the things and all that. We sit and observe the child. Today I have given presentation, there's 1 week, every day is like an
Mm.
assessment in the Montessori, every day, because we are observing the child, we are assessing, saying that okay fine, Monday, Tuesday, oh she's learned, I'm not going and telling her or anything. She's finished. She'll come to me. I'm done with this. Can I do the next one? That is assessment. When you complete the task given, or when you complete the task which you're acquiring,
Mm.
satisfied, you want to do next more. That is
Mm.
how the assessment happens in a Montessori environment, stage by stage, one step at a time, where there is, as I told, each child has their own index.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
this index will help us assess the child.
Okay. So, if I can paraphrase all that you said, assessment needs to happen through observation rather than fixing a specific time. Okay, by heart everything can come. I'll give you a question paper. I will ask you questions, quizzing and questioning and all of that. Versus observing whether the child is picking up what they're meant to pick up in that particular stage, and
Yes.
that particular stage, how do we determine what the child is supposed to pick up in that stage is not curriculum that is set by somebody. It's that is where you're bringing in
It's a
sensitive.
natural. Yes, it's a
Hmm.
natural.
So sensitive periods are periods in a child's developmental journey where in each period the child is naturally receptive to learn
To learn.
certain aspect of living.
Exactly.
Yes, so
That is
which means
correct.
3 to 4, for example, you brought up
Yes.
is language,
Language and math. Yeah, we give that.
language and math. Can you give us a few more examples? How do we know what is the sensitive period? What else? Give us a few more examples,
See,
please.
sensitive period, if you take from age 6 to 9, they
Mm,
are, that is the sensitive. These children have sensitive period for social aspect, making
mm,
groups. You're my best friend. You should sit
mm,
next to me only. You should share this with me. So
mm,
now the child at the 6 is has a reasoning mind. The child needs reason. If best friend is sharing something, he wants the reason. You didn't do it with me, you have done, so what is the reason? It's the reasoning
mm,
mind. Now the child is trying to understand and be there in the social aspect. So this is very, very important now, by the age
mm,
of 9. Then after the age of 9, they start settling, they start accepting, they start understanding. Okay, you can share, we all can be together, come, we will all
mm,
play together. Here where the child is a little possessive from age 1 to 4, then they start going to be want to be in a bigger circle, more bigger circle. Then once you go to
mm,
university, you want big, very big circle,
mm,
isn't
mm,
it?
mm.
So this is how the stages go by. And with learning especially, yeah, you want to say something?
Okay. No, I'm just trying to paraphrase everything that you're saying, right? So
Okay. So
complete what you.
here, when we come to assessing, just to parents, you think two things we need to know. One is language, one is math. Everything
Mm,
is man-made. Everything is man-made, which is put into the book. The nature is being put into the book, and the
mm,
child is asked to mug up and produce it during in that those 3 hours. Remember
mm,
and put it on the paper
mm,
in 3 hours.
mm,
Everything which is in the nature is being put into book.
mm,
I've been repeating this. I hope, I don't know how people are understanding. You should understand this.
mm,
So instead of that, sensorially, the child can go out and learn. The child can do more experiments. What is happening is here, because the child is not trained from the beginning to to time limit themselves, to do certain things in responsible manner. To so what happens is when an assessment, sorry, when a project report or when a project or something is given from school, say,
Mm,
so they are spending because they're enjoying because they're not getting this opportunity to do every day. So what
mm,
is happening is simply they're wasting time or they're learning. We don't know what's happening. Parents should know that. We don't know what's happening. But that is also learning. Says parents will tell, oh, they have assessment day after tomorrow, they have to learn. Today they are trying to sit and do this project. Yeah, it's take magnetism. The child wants to do some project on that. Magnetism by itself is a topic and a subject where till 10th grade you are learning. Even going to moon and space, you will learn the same. When the basics are not right, when the child is not experimenting doing, how will you ask the child to just go right there?
mm,
Some we have the category of children where more sensorially learning children are there, more rote learners are there.
mm,
But we need to bring it and balance together. Even the rote learning child should come down and do lot of sensorial work. Even the child who is doing lot of sensorial work should be taught or helped to write and do things. So that is where when there is a balance,
okay.
that is when you will be able to assess the child. That itself is assessing. The parent closely observing the child's strengths and weaknesses is
Mm,
assessing. The parent is the best, I'm telling you. The parent is the best where you can tell my child can do this and this and this. Not by the pre notion, whatever you have. No, don't have that. Only look at the child the way the child is. The child is today's child. Don't look from your perspective, something and all. No. So
mm.
give the opportunity for the child. So you have to
Would it be
assess
right to say when you say look at the child for what they are, you're again connecting it back to sensitive periods?
sensitive periods. Yes.
Correct? Okay. So if we can string together this conversation around sensitive periods, up to the age of 6, my understanding is it's sort of
Yeah.
the basics.
Fine
There is
motor, gross.
language,
Yeah.
fine motor, gross motor, movement, which is the
And
physical body, and then there is order, and then
basic
there is
language.
grace and courtesy. So these are the basic things. And once that foundation is set, beyond that 6 to 9 and 9 to 12 and so on,
Social.
what you also mentioned is that language and math is fundamental, everything else is gk, everything else is general knowledge, right? I remember you mentioned this in a earlier
Yeah,
conversation.
earlier, yes,
That
yes.
connects back over here as well. So what you're telling me is that language and math ka fundamental has to be fixed by 6, and beyond that they are only building on it
Building on that. Yes.
through their developmental phases, which is, I think, 6 to 9 is the 6 to 12 is the reasoning mind. So first they get into socialization, they go into groups, how to be with others, be with peers, and then
Very.
comes more abstract thinking and larger projects and stuff like that, right? So assessment cannot be limited to what the child is able to mug up and produce in those three
No,
hours,
no,
but in how the child is overall with their
yes,
friends, with other people, how they are able to carry out their projects, how they're able to process. It is okay for a child to engage in activities and projects even before an assessment, because that is also learning.
yes, yes.
Learning is more important than pleasing somebody for an assessment and 2 marks.
100 marks. Yes.
Right? Okay. And for this, you also brought in this aspect of ways of learning. Different children learn differently, and there are some children who do well with rote learning. Of course, every classroom has 10%, 20% who's fantastic at rote learning. But there are also other children who would rather do it through engaging activities and sensorial work using materials. So everything has to be pulled in together in order to give them a chance to really see themselves as learners rather
Yes.
than labeling them as a top performer, below average,
No,
average.
no, no, no.
Yes, did I
How will you
summarize?
say? See, if I say, how will you say you're a topper when the
Marks.
other side is not there? No, when the other side is not there,
What is the other
how will
side?
you are alone? You are alone. You'll write 100 marks. So how will you say you're a topper? You can't say you're a
Acha.
topper. How will you say you're a topper? You can't say you're a topper.
I
It's
am
not
the
possible.
only one writing. How will you call me? Yeah,
Physical,
that's
yeah. See here, the physically active and the physical development, emotional, and the academic, all of this has to come together.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay.
See
So
this
that is
whole
where you're saying that every child has a separate index. You mentioned that word, right? A
exactly
separate index, as in it's a child-centric progress. So if we
progress.
can focus on whether the child has picked up a certain task, if the child is learning, say, addition, how far is the child able to progress? Should be a child centric base. It's okay if the child takes 3 months or 4 months to complete that particular sequence, but they will eventually catch up to the group, is what you're saying.
Yes,
Did
yes,
is that right?
yes. See now, if I say take grade one up, we have so much like botany, biology, chemistry, physics, history, geography.
Right.
All children know geography. Grade one, they know what is helium, what is hydrogen. They speak. They know H2O. They know these things. How is that they are knowing? Nobody is pressurizing them. We give it
Mm,
through stories. The way it is taught,
mm,
there is a certain method of teaching. So simply
mm,
you cannot just write on the board and you cannot ask the child copy it then learn. It will not happen that way. And
mm.
the first children who are able to pick it up, they pick up. What will happen to the rest of the class? Say 30 children out of 30, 15, 10 only can grasp the what will happen to the rest. You need to give chances, different ways of doing it. The follow up should be there. And even at home, the parent has to observe the child very closely for his what is that assessing the growth
Mm,
to happen. The parent is supposed to observe the child on a regular basis, what is happening, what is sit and discuss, and you can have one on one with your child,
mm.
discuss. So you can assess your child
What
like that.
this is opening up is assessment is not about whether the child is good at it or not, whether the child knows or not, as against has the child caught up to this concept or not, what other ways can we help the child to grasp the concept.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
You can have follow-ups, different follow-ups. So see to it that the
Mm,
whole because here there is no mixed age. There is only like 6-year-olds are there, and all the 6-year-olds have to write in a conventional school. The
correct.
same chapter one. The
Mm,
other child wants to do chapter two, but it's not allowed. The child is not allowed to do that. Though the child is faster than others at the age of 6, all the children are not the same. Even I feel sometimes the child who is a little faster at the age of 6 is deprived.
mm.
Don't you think? The child is deprived because the child wants to go. But this is fixed. June only this much I'm doing. I will not go beyond it.
But now the curriculum and all is like super fast
Like
paced and it's
yes.
always running behind. Am I catching up? Am I catching up? No, that's where it is. That's what I've always heard.
Not only the child who is not able to do it, is the child who can do also should be given more to do, not wasting
Mm,
their time.
mm.
Children with difficulty, it is fine. They are learning. It is not that they will not survive in the world. They will survive
But it's not
because
practical, isn't it, Rupa? How is it possible that you have a classroom full of, let's say, 30 children? I can't have 30 children being at different chapters. Right? How can a teacher actually function like that? How do you take a classroom like that?
see, it is because say now grade one will have different presentations on the at their level, and they know how to put them at, how to work, and all that. They will be working. All the whole class will be working. When I
Mm,
have to give presentation, I'll tell the children that this time I'll be giving this presentation. Say we are doing chordates and non-chordates. So we give presentations of chordates and non-chordates for grade one. The rest of the other children are working in their pace, and we have other adult also who's observing, who's helping, and all that. We'll have two
mm,
adults in the class. So what happens is other adult is helping the children, or they are independent. They are doing their own thing. They will first write the journal. First thing is all parents, whether it is conventional, non-conventional, whatever it is, help the child to write a journal first.
mm,
So through the journal also you can assess your child neatly. The child is preparing a program every day. How am I feeling? What subject should I study today? What is happening? How did the day go? At the end of the day, the child can write, how was my day? What happened, what was the happiest moment in the day. Writing journal is very, very important. I used to
Mm.
write. I used to write my diary all the time, my everything I used to write.
Is this a
So,
standard practice in all Montessori schools?
yes, it has to be.
It
It
has
has
to
to
be
be.
different from it
It has
is.
to be, I don't know, but we follow. It has to be.
Okay.
Journal writing is very, very important, but we follow it. Strongly, we
Mm.
follow it.
So that is also something that Maria
It's
Montessori
very,
has.
the child says, "Oh, I'm not happy. I'm feeling sleepy today." Yeah, it's
Mm.
okay. You're feeling sleepy. What happened? Yeah, come on, let's sit and talk, chat, chit chat for some time. So let us
Mm.
see. The child is not forced immediately. Then the
Mm.
child gears up after some time and he starts working around, going around, and all that.
Mm.
You
Mm.
know, best. So that is also assessing best time of the day and how did I feel today. If the child is writing, we'll get to know. This is
Mm.
the first way of expression. This if this expression is not there, you cannot assess or you can't do anything with your child. Really,
Mm.
expression is very important. Expression needs language.
Correct.
It can be rote. So now the expression has to happen through composition, composing, and essay. Everything is expression.
Mm.
The way
Mm.
you express, even the topic heart or kidney, you need to express. How you understood, you need to put it out. Here, um, uh, in conventional, that's what they have 4 lines, and the child is expected to write those 4 lines only.
Mm.
So the child should be given freedom to express. What is science? In a class, it was asked, what is science? This child wrote, science is about different aspects like, botany, zoology, chemistry, physics, and all this comes in between. Physics is about this, and botany about plants, and zoology is about animals, and, this is what. But the answer was not accepted.
What do you mean?
So, yeah, this is because they expect what is there in the textbook.
Mm.
But this is beyond what a 9-year-old, grade 4, 5 child is speaking. Is I think this is nice,
Yeah, it
isn't
certainly
it?
is.
Don't you think so? It's yeah. So parents have to be conscious and more knowing about these things.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So this is how you will assess at home. You assess. You know your child.
Mm.
So help the child also to understand. Don't go beyond marks. First thing is you have to understand and you should do your work.
Mm.
Whether it can be botany, zoology, chemistry, physics, or whatever it can be.
Mm.
Until you understand, you can't express. You can't produce it in the exams or wherever you go. You can't write.
Okay,
Yes.
so I think this is also a good way for us to conclude this particular talk to say that assessment is for us. Assessing a child is an information for us. It is not
Whether the
about
child.
this is
No, it's
not
not
an
about the child.
assessment to label the child or put the
Yes.
child in a box to say that, okay, you are in this grade, that grade. This is more of a cue for us to understand whether the child has grasped a concept or not. Different
Yes.
children learn differently. If the child has learned certain concepts in, let's say, language or in math or in physics, but they need some support in botany, the assessment is for us to know that we need to find other ways to introduce the same concept to them
Yes.
so that they can pick it up. So that is what an assessment is about. And if we can start to look at a child's progress report in the context of physical, emotional, social, and academic. Most of the
Academic.
time, we end
Yes.
up focusing only on the academic, but we do have to focus on the emotional, physical, and
Yes.
social aspect as well,
Life
because
skills, yeah, life skills and values.
that is pretty much what is, especially the social aspect and the emotional aspect, where life skills and values come in. I think that is what is fundamental for a child to actually become confident, successful, a contributing citizen in the society. And once they're able to pick that up, the marks are not going to matter. We have enough
Doesn't matter.
chai walas and samosa walas who are earning in crores and lakhs, and we have enough people who have fantastic medals and university medals and certificates who are barely making ends meet. We have both extremes. In fact, another one example that I would like to share before closing is, this person was, the car was stuck somewhere on the highway, and his wife is saying, do something. You're a mechanical engineer. He's like, Arey, I did what? Let me call the mechanic, right? So the mechanical engineer has a degree certificate, but he needs a mechanic who doesn't have a certificate to fix his car. So a
Exactly.
degree, a
Exactly.
certificate is
It's
not
all
a
about,
sign
yeah,
of
exactly.
education.
Practical way of
And
doing it.
absolutely, absolutely. So that is, I think, a fantastic way for us to close and wrap this conversation. I loved the conversation about journaling, how we can encourage children to program for their day, plan for the day, and then reflect on the day, and to support children in their own ways of learning. As a closing line, I think another tidbit that I would like to add is there is something called as VARK, VARK, visual, auditory, reading, and kinesthetic. There are four different
Yeah,
ways in which
kinesthetic
children
learning.
can learn. All of us learn, and we are somehow programmed to easily grasp in one particular sense. Some of us are visual. We more easily learn when we see pictures, when we see somebody else do it by looking at a video, as against somebody else who's an auditory person who wants somebody to explain to them. They need to listen to it. Versus somebody else who could be a reading personality. They need to read. No matter how much explanation, how
Yes.
much visuals, whatever, they need to read in a textbook. And there are some
Because,
people, no matter what you do, they have to engage, which is kinesthetic. So
yes.
identifying what your child's representation model, these are called representation models. What is your child's most easiest way for the child to naturally learn? Pick that up and support your child in their journey. And I think that would be a fantastic way to support their growth and development in whatever stage that they are in. And we can also look into our sensitive periods. I think that was a very interesting insight that I'm sure it will open up for a lot of listeners here today. Thank you. Thank you so much. That pretty much concludes our conversation for today. It has been really insightful as always. And I'm sure it is going to help a lot of parents to give them hope that acha, marks is not the only thing. I can see that my child is intelligent. I can see that my child is picking up in certain areas. I need to find
Exactly.
ways to support them. And for parents whose children are already doing academically, to also reflect on, okay, yes, my child is doing academically well, but are there other areas in which they need any support? That's it from us today. Do let us know what are your thoughts. What did you like about today's session? What was new for you? What was insightful? Do you have any particular questions or comments to share with us here below the video? And we will definitely get back to you. And we're coming back to you with more interesting conversations. So stay tuned, subscribe, like, and follow us. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much for joining us, Rupa. I'm looking forward
Thank
to
you,
talking.
Preeti. Namaste.